A Nazi commander, armed with the most fearsome tanks on Earth, was certain he'd finally found a way to halt Patton's army. But 48 hours later, only a handful of those machines were still running. September 18th, 1944. A German general peered over a battle map. For months, the news had been only retreat. Now, the lines suggested a sudden, fleeting chance. General Heinrich von Lüttwitz was a veteran, not an ideologue. He understood armored warfare. And on this morning, he believed he held the ultimate trump card. Commanding the 111th Panzer Brigade, he possessed a force fresh from the factory floor. 58 Panther tanks. Their guns could kill from distances where Allied weapons were useless. Their armor was virtually impenetrable from the front. His intelligence was clear. General George Patton's Third Army was overextended, its supply lines thin. Lüttwitz's plan was simple and brutal. He would concentrate this armored fist and smash it directly into the exposed flank of the U.S. 4th Armored Division. He had the fuel for 2 days of combat. 2 days were all he needed to cut off Patton's spearhead and create chaos. By every traditional measure of warfare, this should have been a massacre. The Panthers were technologically supreme. They held the element of surprise. But Lüttwitz was preparing for a duel of knights, while his enemy was building a trap made of speed, steel, and mathematics. At dawn on September 19th, the 111th began its advance. A thick, oppressive fog blanketed the Lorraine region. Visibility shrank to mere meters. The Panther's greatest strength, its long-range, high-velocity cannon, was instantly nullified. You cannot hit what you cannot see. The German column pressed on, blind and deaf, engines growling in the gloom. 15 kilometers away, American Colonel Bruce Clark received reports of heavy engine noise. He didn't have heavier tanks. What he had were units like the 37th Tank Battalion and something far more agile. He realized the fog wasn't a hindrance, it was the ultimate equalizer. If this became a close-range brawl, different rules would apply. The lead German tank erupted in flame, then another, then a third. Confusion seized the column. German commanders spun their turrets, searching for muzzle flashes in the mist, but saw nothing. They were being hit from the sides, their weaker flank armor exposed. The shots came from ghosts in the fog. Enter the M18 Hellcat. To German tankers, it looked like a death trap. It had almost no armor. Its crew was partially exposed. But what Lüttwitz's calculations had fatally ignored was its power-to-weight ratio. Its aircraft engine could propel it at highway speed. In the fog of Lorraine, the Hellcat didn't need armor. It only needed to be somewhere else. Here's how the swarm attacked. A Hellcat platoon would hear the Panthers approaching. The commander would order a frantic dash to a new flanking position. They'd wait, let the heavy German tanks roll past, and fire 3 rapid shots into their vulnerable sides. Before the Panther could fully rotate its massive turret to return fire, the driver would slam into reverse, and the Hellcat would vanish at 50 miles per hour, racing to set the next ambush. It was a battle between a ponderous, blinded giant and a pack of lethal, hypermobile wolves. By noon, the fog began to lift. Lüttwitz, receiving frantic reports, urged his commanders forward. But as the mist cleared, the second layer of the American trap was sprung. The sky above the German infantry, the crucial Panzer Grenadiers riding on or near the tanks, suddenly tore itself apart. This wasn't an air raid. It was something far more scientifically terrifying, a time-on-target artillery barrage. American fire control had perfected a mathematical nightmare. Artillery batteries, miles apart with different shell flight times, coordinated their fire so that every shell, dozens of them, landed on the exact same spot at the exact same microsecond. There was no warning whistle, no time to dive for cover. One moment the field was quiet. The next, the air itself exploded with synchronized, shrapnel-spewing fury. The armored Panthers were mostly safe, but their supporting infantry was devastated. Radios were shattered. Command lines were cut. The tanks were now blind, isolated metal boxes, stripped of the eyes and ears that protected them. A buttoned-up tank without infantry is just a waiting coffin. And then, the final, most humiliating factor emerged: fuel. The supporting 113th Panzer Brigade arrived late to the battle. Why? They ran out of gasoline on the approach march. Germany could produce a masterpiece of engineering but couldn't produce the basic fuel to move it 20 kilometers. Meanwhile, American repair crews were already towing damaged Shermans to mobile depots for overnight fixes. The U.S. didn't just have tanks, it had a forward-deployed factory. Within 24 hours, Lüttwitz lost 30 Panthers. Within 48, he had lost 50. By week's end, only 8 of the original 58 were operational. The U.S. 4th Armored lost roughly 25 vehicles in total, almost all of which were replaced within days. The kill ratio wasn't a battle statistic. It was an autopsy of a flawed philosophy. The Battle of Arracourt is often overshadowed, but it is perhaps the purest demonstration of why Germany lost the war. It wasn't about courage. Both sides had that in abundance. It was the triumph of a system of mobility, of coordinated artillery, of relentless logistics, and of replaceable parts. The Germans built the perfect warrior. The Americans built the perfect machine to defeat him. If you found this breakdown of industrial warfare compelling, please like this video. It genuinely supports the channel. What other lesser-known battles reveal the true engines of victory? Let us know below.